John Bradley. Brad Ellsworth is an American politician who was the U.S. Representative for Indiana's 8th congressional district from 2007 to 2011. In 2010, he was the Democratic candidate for a seat in the United States Senate, but he was defeated by Dan Coats, a former senator, by 55% to 40%. Early life and education. Ellsworth was born in Jasper, Indiana, the son of Margaret and Jim Ellsworth. He spent his early years in Huntingburg, Indiana. When he was still in grade school, his family moved to Evansville, where his father took a job as a crane operator in Warwick County's Alcoa plant. He is the youngest of four, his brothers Eric and Joe and his sister Lisa. His brother Eric is the president and CEO of the YMCA of Greater Indianapolis. His brother Joe is a founding partner and president of Fire and Amp Rain Marketing Communications headquartered in Evansville. After graduation from William Henry Harrison High School in 1976, he attended Indiana State University, Evansville, where he received a bachelor's degree in sociology, and became a member of Sigma Tau Gamma. Ellsworth worked in the paint and hardware department at Sears while in school to pay for his education. He later received a master's degree in criminology from Indiana State University. Rose Hulman Institute of Technology also gave him an honorary doctorate of humane letters at the 2008 commencement. Law enforcement career. In 1982, Ellsworth began a career in the Vanderbilt County Sheriff's Department. Over the next 23 years, he held every merit rank, and was twice decorated for heroism in the line of duty. While serving in the department, Brad Ellsworth instituted the first drug abuse resistance education program in the Evansville Vanderbilt School Corporation. He later attended and graduated from the FBI National Academy. In 1998, Ellsworth ran for sheriff and won by a large margin. He was unopposed, running for a second term. In 2005, he announced his intention to seek the Democratic Party's nomination for Indiana's 8th congressional district, which was held by six-term incumbent John Hostetler, U.S. House of Representatives. Ellsworth is a conservative Democrat with a populist streak. He opposes abortion and gun control. Ellsworth also represented a socially conservative swath of Indiana. However, on economic issues, Ellsworth usually votes more with the Democratic Party. After his election to Congress, he joined the Blue Dog Coalition. Ellsworth voted against the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act of 2009 in January of that year. He voted for the final version of the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act of 2009. He was one of 16 Democrats who voted against providing federal funds for embryonic stem cell research. Ellsworth condemned the National Right to Life Committee for not supporting the extension of the state children's health insurance program to cover more families. While Ellsworth voted against an earlier version of the bill, he joined the other 9 signatories in voting for the final bill. In November 2009, Ellsworth wrote an amendment restricting federal funding for elective abortions. Americans United for Life asserted that this language does not eliminate the public funding of abortion in the House bill, but instead only requires said federal subsidies to be separately disbursed by an independent contractor. Ellsworth later voted for the Stupak Amendment. He eventually voted for the Senate language of the health care bill, lacking the Stupak Amendment's anti-abortion language. In July 2007, Ellsworth designated $2 million to extend the John T. Myers Lock Chamber on the Ohio River and $750,000 for manufacturing and engineering equipment for the University of Southern Indiana. Two other projects Ellsworth brought to southwestern Indiana were the construction of a campus perimeter road system at USI for $350,000 and a portion of University Parkway construction also at $350,000. Smaller projects for which Ellsworth gained House approval include $200,000 to restore Evansville's Alhambra Theater, $135,000 for emergency warning sirens in Vanderbilt County, and $75,000 to train utility workers at Ivy Tech Community College. Committee assignments: Committee on Agriculture, Subcommittee on Conservation, Credit, Energy, and Research, Subcommittee on General Farm Commodities and Risk Management, Committee on Armed Services, Subcommittee on Sea Power and Expeditionary Forces, Subcommittee on Terrorism and Unconventional Threats, Committee on Small Business, Subcommittee on Contracting and Technology, Subcommittee on Investigations and Oversight. Political campaigns. 2006. As of June 30, 2006, Hostetler had raised $287,000 and had $195,000 on hand, compared to Ellsworth's $1,036,000 raised and $676,000 on hand. However, Hostetler had won campaigns in the past against opponents with more funding. In addition, the National Republican Congressional Committee had spent $163,000 in his district as of mid-July 2006. The Cook Political Report is an independent, non-partisan newsletter, listed the race as a toss-up as of mid-August. As of early September, the Rothenberg Political Report called Hostetler one of the three most endangered House incumbents in the country. Chris Silliser, political analyst for The Washington Post, ranked Hostetler as the most vulnerable House incumbent in the nation, and Robert D. Novak, a syndicated columnist and editor of the Evans-Novak Political Report, also rated Hostetler's seat a likely win for Ellsworth. In mid-October, an opinion poll commissioned by the Evansville Courier and AMP Press showed Ellsworth leading Hostetler 55% to 32%. Hostetler debated Ellsworth on October 23, 2006. The debate was at public television station WVUT at Vincennes University, and involved the League of Women Voters. Ellsworth scored a landslide victory over Hostetler on November 7, 2006. He took 61% of the vote to Hostetler's 39%, by far the most lopsided defeat for an incumbent in the 2006 election. Ellsworth's victory was the first of 30 seats that the Democrats took from the Republicans in the cycle. 2008. 2 years later, on November 4, 2008, Ellsworth won re-election, easily defeating Republican candidate Greg Good's 65% to 35%. 2010 U.S. Senate campaign. On February 19, 2010, Ellsworth announced his candidacy in the 2010 U.S. Senate election for the seat in the United States Senate held by Democrat Evan Bayh, who was retiring. Since Bayh made his announcement the day before the deadline for filing for the primary, no Democrat was able to gather a sufficient number of signatures to qualify for the primary ballot, forcing the Democratic State Committee to choose the Senate nominee. Ultimately, the committee chose Ellsworth. He was defeated in the November election by Dan Coates, who had previously held the seat from 1989 to 1999, taking 40% of the vote. Ellsworth even lost his own congressional district. He carried Vigo but failed to carry his home county Vanderbilt. Following his defeat, Ellsworth joined Evansville-based Vectron Corp. as president of its Indiana Gas Utility Division. Electoral history.